Hi, and we're back for a new episode of Unzipped. It's me, your host, Hector, and I have my guest today, Tina. You know, the deflator of the male ego on Twitter.
Oh my
but,
god.
but today we're going to talk about the wonderful topic of the double standard. That is the topic of today's episode, and we're going to get into a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of this.
Spicy.
So today we have a double whammy. We have an unzipped cocktail. It's mango cranberry juice with pineapple vodka, and we have a red velvet space cookie. You know what I like to call space cookie, so you guys know exactly what we're eating today. So, cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cookie cheers. Enjoy.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. I want to know who bakes this. It's so good.
I know. Like, we need to be in the kitchen while they're doing this. It's so good.
Delish.
I feel like this is the freshest I've ever tasted one of their cookies. It's like so good.
I agree. Or maybe because it's this one. This is my first time having this one. I had the chocolate chip one before. So as we're finishing up our treats, we'll get right into the main subject.
I'm gonna put this off to the side.
And I mean, again, you guys know that I'm an avid social media user, especially like Twitter. And this one right here will have your timeline in shambles. The minute she wants to tweet some random shit about niggas being niggas and her skirting them to the side. But, I mean, you know, you've had your, several encounters with the male species on Twitter.
Oh man.
So what do you feel is kind of like their biggest misconceptions when it comes to dating dating females?
As far as social media presence is concerned, I feel like people really take tweets so serious. Like, it's like you can't joke around in a certain way if it comes off a little too vulgar, especially, of course, being a woman and being vulgar. It's like, oh my god, that's a lady shouldn't say that or something. And I feel like that's the biggest misconception. It's just like you are what you tweet. When people have multiple personalities and egos, I don't care what anyone says, everyone has like that fun, joking kind of personality, and then their serious side where they can be more serious. You sometimes can't always show that on social media. You know what I mean? So I get judged a lot by my tweets all the time. It's just so funny, but I don't even care. It's fun. I do it for fun. So be it.
Boom, there you have it. I mean, but no, I do agree with you because I do feel that we as humans do have multiple layers. So I do feel that when it comes to social media, I mean, we do tend to portray kind of like what we expect or kind of like what got us in a certain way, like kind of like, like, I mean, I'm the type of person where I just tweet whatever the fuck like is running through my mind at the moment. At the moment in time, if you agree, you agree, and if you don't, listen, you don't gotta pay attention. You can always get to the next tweet above or below me.
But I noticed, like, when I, like, because I'm a very spiritual person, like, I'm all into, like, my crystals and my mystical stuff, you know how I am. And I feel like when I'm always talking about that positivity, nobody's trying to hear any of it. Like,
Who's fucking with you?
Nobody retweets it. Like, nobody wants to hear it. I even had somebody ask me, like, why are you so happy all the time? Get that off of my timeline. I thought it was the most hilarious thing ever.
How you tell me to take my happiness elsewhere?
It was hilarious. And I actually, like, gotten that reactions, or people would, like, oh, all that happiness stuff is fake. Nobody could be happy like that all the time. And it's just really weird trying to spread positivity in such a negative place.
You know what's funny? Which isn't really on topic, but it's funny that you say that because there was someone who tweeted that if you drink or smoke all the time, then you need to go see a therapist because there's something wrong with you, because you can't, because you must be sad. And in my mind, I was like, wait. And then I had to stop. I was like, wait, do I smoke all the time and drink all the time? Because like, am I fucked up subconsciously?
Am I?
And I was like, wait, no, not really.
See, my argument with that is, if you do it to be happy,
then that's a problem.
Then that's a problem. But I feel like, especially us, like, we just like to have fun together. So it's automatic, like, pour a drink, or,
smoke a blunt. Like, listen, it's just a kiki. It's for the moment.
Yeah. And we laugh at each other the next day.
Exactly.
You know? So.
But let's just listen. Let's stir the pot a little bit today. Let's turn up the heat on this conversation and give it all the way. I was gonna say to the left, but there's a wall to the left. So let's go give it to the right.
Let's go to the right.
We got more space this way. let's talk about the double standards when it comes to body counts because it's still January. We're still, what's today's date? The 26th?
I'm 26. How many bodies you've gotten this year
Right?
so far?
So far, no. But that's always tends to be like the topic of discussion. The New Year's coming. Oh my God, ha! Your body count resets, and then that's where the whole shit goes left because then it goes because you a hoe, and and it happens in the gay community, straight community the same way. But like, how do you feel about body counts? Do you feel that can men be hoes?
Absolutely, men could be hoes. Men can be bigger hoes than women can because they have less of a standard to live up to. You know what I mean? Like, I personally know straight men that they have 80 to 100 bodies and nobody says anything of it. Women still want to be with them, marry them, have kids with them, but if that would have been a woman, it's just like, ew, she's dirty, she's a hoe, she's a slut, like, that pussy must be open, and it's just like, where does this come from? Like,
7-Eleven.
open 24/7. It's just like, I don't get it. Like, I personally don't get it. Not that I necessarily approve of a promiscuous lifestyle, but I feel like as long as you're protecting yourself and you're having fun, then fine. If it's consensual, you know what I mean, and you're having fun and you're enjoying it, I don't really see the big deal whether you're a guy or a girl. Like, I think it's stupid.
To me, I don't understand it because like when I I'm into like I follow straight people, I follow gay people, and to see straight males have this like conception, and I get like how it's like been brought down.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, you realize that if you ask me what my body count is, I can literally tell you I've only fucked 2 people in my whole life, and I can tell you straight to the face, like I've only had sex with 2 people, and you could probably tell yourself, well, I don't think that's true, but I mean, prove me wrong.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? You gonna go around asking everybody? Hey,
so that in my mind, I'm like, I don't understand why that's so important. I feel like if you get to know me and I have a dope personality, you like spending time with me, you want to see what the next step is. Why does it matter if I fuck 3 people or fuck 50? I don't see how that comes into play. If anything, y'all listen, y'all have taught me throughout the years since I was in motherfucking elementary school and fucking kindergarten and all that shit. Practice makes perfect. So I'm out here practicing, and y'all gonna tell me that I'm running up miles. So how I'm supposed to be perfect? Like
Drake said, he can tell that she's been practicing for him. Maybe that's what I was doing. You never know.
Listen, you want me to do splits on the dick, but but I'm not supposed to get on the dick. So what we doing out here?
I think it's stupid. Like I said, I think it's really dumb. I mean, there are extremes to that. You know what I say? I'm saying, but everyone has like their preference or like their limit where they're just like, no, I can do that. But I feel like for the most part, when it comes to women, it's like it's expected for you to be innocent. Nobody can know who you are. Popular girls, especially, it's like, God forbid you're popular. Everybody done been in that if you're popular automatically. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. But that kills
me because the same dudes that'll tweet about how, oh, she's a whore, she's a slut, are the same ones that if given the chance would be with these girls. Definitely. Y'all be in their DMs. I've seen the screenshots.
Yeah, I've been slandered by many a man on Twitter, and all of those men end up doing it at some point because 1, I rejected them, or 2, I said something that they didn't approve of at some point, and it's just like, oh, slander time, and she didn't want to fuck me anyway. But I just don't.
Kind of like that street, like, oh, what's good, man? Oh, I got a boyfriend. Well, fuck you, bitch. You still
fuck
ugly.
You ugly ass bitch. Like,
wait,
that stay happens. It's so funny because that actually happens to me on Twitter. Like, there are guys that I know have tried to bag me, but then at some point they won't like me, they'll unfollow me, and then it's like they're subbing me, ugly ass bitch, whack ass bitch. Like, oh shit.
I wasn't whack
last week. Whatever. Guys are freaking retarded.
They are, but it's funny because it also happens within our own like I guess in the gay community because I always find it to be funny when it comes to like tops and bottoms. Like if you're a top, you can run through whomever. You can be.
It's pretty much the same standards. Yeah.
You can have community dick, but God forbid you out here throwing your ass in the circle with a problem.
I feel like, is there something taboo with penetration that makes it that way? Like,
if you're getting penetrated, you're a whore.
Yeah.
If you're doing the penetration, it's kind of like, no, I'm still a virgin. Like, bitch, where? How?
I could get so deep into that topic and where it stems from, but it's just so dumb. It's really dumb. The body count issue, if a guy ever asks me what my body count is, I'm going to be a smart ass about it. Like, I almost always have a smart remark, like, I'm a hoe, or, wouldn't you like to know? What is your guess? You know, I always have something stupid to say because I feel like it's not a question you should ask anybody. That's really personal.
And talking about it being personal, I just feel like it's just so immaterial. It's like something that doesn't even matter because who's literally sitting here? Because to be honest, I can give you an estimated guess. Like a really good guess. Like it would be like within 99.9% of perfection of being like on point. You know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like I'm sitting here like, oh no, wait, I got a whole little notebook. I'm writing down names. I got a tally. Like who's sitting there doing that? Unless you're one of those guys that has like the little black book and like, oh yeah, because you know, I'll smash 500 bitches in my life. I'm the nigga.
Yeah. I feel like if you lose count, that can be problematic. You should know who you sleep with, you know, or have an estimate. Like you said, you should have an estimate as to who you slept with. But I also think it makes a difference of when you started. Some of us started earlier than others. Some of us started later than others, and that's a big factor. Or somebody who's never been in a serious relationship, that's a big factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what if they've been single all these years? And, you know, there are people my age that have never been in a serious relationship, so their body count is probably going to be way more than mine. Yeah. But believe it or not, people guess the funniest things when it comes to my body count. Like, I've gotten anywhere from like 10 to 35.
Damn, sister.
And I'm just like, where did these numbers come from? Does it show on my face? Like,
I don't know.
Who knows?
We got a little thing on the side, like a little pedometer that lets you know the many miles we've all ran out in our lives. Child.
Oh man.
I just really would like to, like, I don't understand. And then the thing is, for me, is if you have these conversations with these guys that perpetuate this idea, in their minds, like it's kind of like talking to a wall sometimes, because they can't bring themselves to see the other side of it. Because to me, it's kind of like I say, if you want to sleep around, you can do so as long as you're using protection, and as long as, you know, listen, try to be the best you that you can be and live the healthiest lifestyle that you can.
Right.
And if you want to sleep around, listen, that is on you. Praise, be safe. Prayers with you.
Yeah.
God is on your side.
I just feel like the double standard, the reason why it is the way it is because it runs so deep. And people don't realize how deep that runs. And it goes back to even like religion and the figures that we've been shown throughout time. Like, what are the most amazing religious figures you've ever seen? The virgin that got pregnant. You know what I mean?
By immaculate conception.
So it's that, you know, misconception about women that this is what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be, you know, or women, it's like two extremes. So you can either be like the Virgin Mary or you can be the Eve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're the evil, you know? You're the one who seduced man. You know what I mean? So it's like, these are the two images that people have of women throughout, centuries already? And it's like, people have decided which side they like, which sounds better to them. And yeah.
I'm a little bit of both. I can be evil, and I can also be a virgin.
I could be a Martha Stewart and a Cardi B. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, you know.
Let me know which one you want.
She'll appear when you like, you know.
Right? But no, I just like I said again, I find it funny. I find it humorous, especially like when I encounter it on social media.
Yeah.
Because there's always that one person that's always kind of like, oh, I don't understand these kinds of, because it's to give it a breakdown, there's always that one homosexual that feels that they're a part of the community, but they're a part of the community.
Yeah.
So they feel like they're better. It's like, oh, I don't fuck with these kind of gays, or I don't mess with these gays.
Yeah.
And it's always funny to me because they're the ones who have this kind of like idea of, oh, if you're a bottom and you're getting fucked, like it kind of makes you lesser than a top doing the same thing. But then, God forbid, they get smutted out on the timeline, then it's all, oh, don't disrespect me because I'm not the type. This happened, but it's not because I'm like that.
Sis.
Like,
I've seen it happen so many times. Yeah.
Because they'll be the ones that be like, oh, because y'all be sending news and then y'all get mad when y'all news leak, and then when they news leak, it's kind of like, oh no, because I'm not a whore, but you were sending news. Listen, no matter if you send it to your man who you thought was gonna be your man, if it was a catfish, whatever it was, you sent it. You hit send on that nude, like the other bitch that you were dragging.
By the way, I think nudes are awesome.
we did an episode on nudes and things.
They're awesome.
I'm pro nudes. I haven't tattooed on me.
Send some nudes.
Send nudes.
That's like a slogan, isn't it? Send nudes.
It's a tattoo on my arm.
Child, it's just there's so many. I could go into like so many details about it.
Bring it out,
The
baby.
way
Bring
women,
it on.
the way women dress. The
Yes.
whole like Amber Rose slut walk thing is like a big topic. Like it really angers some people that she has this slut walk, where people don't realize that the slut walk existed before Amber Rose. Like it was actually a thing called the slut walk. Amber Rose just happened to become a sponsor of it, and she took it, and now her fan base is a big part of it, and she has a big part of the gay community that's actually a part of it right now, which
Her little rosebuds.
it's really, her rosebuds is really interesting. But I don't see what upsets people so much. You know, these are names that people were calling her beforehand. Everybody was calling Amber Rose a slut. Everybody was calling her a whore, a thot, a pass around, a stripper, or this or that. But she decided to take the word, slap it on a t-shirt, and yeah, man, she's making money off of it. And it's just like, but you guys were calling her these names anyway.
Because
so what is the big deal?
Because no one ever wants to see you profit for something that they feel that degrades you. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of like the issue with, again, with like the Cardi B's of the world.
Yeah.
You're like, while they're underdogs, you're rooting for them because you want better for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they achieve better, you're dragging them because of where they came from. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
You can't, for example, like, you can't want your girl to know all these tricks and to be this whore and this slut in the bedroom. How's she gonna learn?
Yeah, where she learned it.
You're not gonna teach her because y'all be asking for all these tricks and y'all don't even got strokes to match. So what's the real thing? What we doing out here in the streets?
It's just I was going through Coco Austin's Instagram the other day, and they were slandering her because she's like on there in lingerie and like, you know, she's always showing her ass. This is Coco Austin. I'm like, do people not know who Coco is? Like, she is known for like her ass and her tits for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And like they're really going ham on her because she's a mom. Oh, why you got your tits out? She's had her tits out since like 97. I don't really think that's gonna change. Like,
and in my mind, it's kind of like, and another one of this is kind of like with Kim Kardashian.
oh man, her comments are crazy.
I live for what she does, what she claps back. I'll say that. But in my mind, it's kind of like, for the people out there who are always on her fucking comments talking about, oh, but you're a mother. Listen, Kim Kardashian has been naked more times than she's been dressed.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm pretty sure that if her kids grow up, at this point, they're gonna find naked pictures of her before she was pregnant with them. So at this point, it's a done deal. Like, it doesn't matter.
What's
it's
crazy
there.
is that do people not realize that there are actually Playboy bunnies and porn stars that are out there that have families, husbands and wives and kids. Like, who gives a shit? It's a normal thing, and it's not something new. Like, the girls that were like Hugh Hef's girlfriends, what was it, 15 years ago? They're now married with kids. Almost all of them are like married with kids now. I'm pretty sure their husbands are not like, oh, my wife is nude on the internet. I can't marry her now. I can't get pregnant with her now. Oh my God, her body count. Who gives a shit? Like, they clearly don't. They have husbands, like actual husbands, married with kids for a long time. What is her name? Kendra.
Yeah, is she still
Husband with
married?
her She's still.
She's still because I mean every
I
time
don't even want to get on that topic.
every time I look, it's like they're getting divorced. And I'm like,
They've been separated, but you know that was mostly on his part and like the stuff that he did. But yeah, they've been separated, got back together, blah blah blah. But she's married. The other one is married.
Yeah.
They're like all. I mean, these are Playboy bunnies. These are like porn stars.
And I feel like there's nothing wrong with embracing your sexual side. I feel like we all need sexual liberation at a certain point. Like I said again, I don't judge, and you know, I just feel like there are different levels to everything. And listen, I feel like we're in an age now where this double standard really shouldn't exist. Like, I don't feel like it's an idea that should still be promoted
Right.
on social media. Like, I feel like it shouldn't even be something. I feel like at this day and age, it shouldn't even be a topic of discussion, to be honest. But it is, and and that's my whole thing. It's kind of like retarded.
What makes it worse is the women and the bottoms who want to be the pick-me's, and they're the ones who actually fuel the conversation, who fuel the derogatory terms. They fuel it because they're the ones who are standing behind the men and they're saying, yeah, she's a hoe. I don't do that. I don't have sex with men that way. I don't take nude pictures. I stay home and I cook and I clean. I'm conservative. I don't have a high body count. Like, who asked you, Sally? Nobody asked you. And I am one of those women who, like, I'm going to support anybody in their decisions, even if I don't necessarily agree with it. I mean, I have friends that went into stripping, and I don't necessarily think stripping is something that I would do, but I'm going to defend their choice to do that. That's their personal choice. Do I think it makes them a hoe or a slut or whatever? No, they're comfortable with their bodies. You know what I mean? They can do what they want to do. I just feel like a woman standing behind a man and defending him, degrading another woman, makes this whole double standard thing a lot worse, because there's actually women that support it. And that's what makes it even uglier. Like, there really are women who are like, you know, they back the double standard. They're the cheerleaders of this whole disgusting bullshit. And I think that that's the biggest issue. If women would actually defend other women and say, no, this is not okay, stop doing that, I think eventually it'll start to die down, because then it's like, it's going to be one side versus the other. And men are not going to completely disregard women because
they need them for procreation at the very least. Like, at the very least.
Exactly. Like, so yeah, that's my take on that. Like,
but I do feel like, do you feel that we're making strides towards kind of getting to that place? Because I feel like, I will say this, like, I feel that even though it's still something that's being discussed, I do feel that we are breaking down the doors and having the conversations and kind of like getting to a point where we're promoting kind of like the opposite. Or it's not necessarily where we're promoting a promiscuous lifestyle, but it's kind of like an acceptance of differentiating lifestyles, in the sense of, if you want to be out there, you know, popping pussy on a handstand, go ahead. I applaud it. If you want to be conservative, if you want to if you want to be conservative, marry and be like, I only got 2 bodies, living my best life. That's fine too. You know,
I think social media has helped that in a way, because now it's putting all of this on the forefront, and it's like you're actually starting to see how degrading and how damaging some of these words are. I mean, I know that there's some really sad cases that, you know, girls have gotten exposed or whatever, whether on social media, like teenage girls, and they end up committing suicide. And, you know, it's crazy things like this that I feel like, now that it's on such a big platform, and it's not as hush hush as it used to be, like, people are actually seeing what it's doing. You know what I mean? Like, how damaging it is. People say, you know, sticks and stones, but at the end of the day, words do hurt. You know what I mean? Yes. And you can demolish someone's reputation with a simple word, and that's what's crazy. Like, one person can call a woman a whore, and if 50,000 people decide to retweet it on Twitter, she's a whore. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's becoming more real to people. Like, well, the social media stuff is really serious. We have to be careful what we say. Not everybody is realizing they have to be careful with what they say, but I definitely think it's becoming a thing, and I feel like we could thank the Anna Nicoles and Cocos and Kim K's, like, for saying, I'm gonna be with my freaking tits out. I don't care what anybody says.
But I mean, like, at the end of the day, let's be real, like, and again, it's also another part of the discussion of the double standard. Like, why is it okay for us to see the male body, the nude male body everywhere?
But it's not okay.
But it's not okay to see the female body. Like,
that's another thing that stems back, like, really, really far back. I mean, when you look at Greek and Roman art, you will see all these male statues and they're nude. And anytime you really saw a woman, she was either like in a sash, covering her privates. She was never really exposed like that. And I feel like that played a big role in how men feel like women are supposed to look. They're supposed to be conservative. A man's body, it's beautiful, it's human anatomy, it's like, look at me, I'm the creator, I got the balls and stuff. But then it's like, the woman, you know, they'll show a little hip, a little shoulder, but then she'll have like a little drapery on her private parts and stuff, and that you see a lot in ancient art and things like that, until like, what, the Renaissance era, and that's when you had the whores being painted and stuff.
Let's get loose.
Maybe those were the pioneers for the whole movement, like the Renaissance whores.
Yes, the loosey goosey mommies.
Yes.
I'm her loosey goosey queen. I mentioned that. But I do feel, like I said, I do feel that, you know, we're making strides towards it, and I'm kind of, you know, and I'm glad that we have that generation of people of that kind of like body empowerment, because I like to, like, for example, I feel like there's different spectrums of it, and that's what I like to see. I see the different levels of it. Like, you have the Kim K's, but you also have the kind of like the Rihannas, and you also have the Beyonces.
Yeah.
You know, so like where it's different variations of like appreciation for the female body, and you know, like for example, like Kim K's kind of like in your face, completely bare nude, like
She has
I don't give a fuck.
Selfie book of it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that you feel so like at the end of the day, like we should all feel secure within ourselves. Like, if not to say that we should all be out here like, hi, I'm just gonna post nudes on my time, not all day. No, but I'm just like, we should all feel like if we wanted to, we should, you know, feel secure. It should be accepted. But
and stop looking to fucking Amber Rose and Kim K to be your kids' role models.
Yes.
Like, that's not their purpose here. You are your kids' role model. You know what I mean? Or like that's so important to me, because I feel like, oh, girls don't have a good role model to look up to. Who the fuck is Michelle Obama then? I think she's an awesome role model. I mean, you guys may hate her, but Hillary Clinton is like a bomb-ass role model. Yeah. She's a bad bitch. Yeah. Why not? Why not a Hillary Clinton? But instead, you guys are focusing on what's on social media, when you're the one who's supposed to be directing your child towards what's appropriate and what's for fun.
And can we also discuss how that's another double standard? It's kind of like, you never hear males having that pressure to kind of be role model for other, because I mean at the end of the day it's kind of like, because if you have someone who sells drugs, oh no, then he's the role model for the street niggas, like, oh, because you know that street credit, because I'm gonna move that way.
He took his mother out the projects.
Yeah, you know, oh, not drug money, but still it's whatever, you know, and it's okay. But if it's a woman, it's kind of like, you kind of, it's like, you guys have to be a role model, and if you're not, it's kind of like, well, wondering why aren't you?
So taboo.
Why don't you want it? Like, why don't you, like, I always find that to be so funny. Like, you never see anyone pressuring men to get married, to have kids, to like do these different things, unless you have an overbearing mother. Then that's a whole different story. Then she'll want the grandkids.
But in general, men are bred to be, oh, you can be a player till you find the right one.
Exactly.
But God forbid a woman wants to be a player till she finds the right one. It's like, oh no. That's that whole shit.
You can't use what you got to get what you want.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot more pressure on women to be role models and to look good in the public eye, but for men, it's kind of like I see a lot of bullshit, and nobody calls men out for it, and it's crazy. I have a son, and all I know is that like I really teach him to love and respect women regardless of how different they are, and accept differences. I think it's important, especially if you have children, to teach them to accept differences. That makes all the difference in the person that they're going to be when they grow up. They're not going to be the bully. They're not going to be the nitpicker or the one on social media calling everybody whores. I mean, a lot of you should be ashamed of yourself for that shit. But, you know, it's so important to teach your children not to be hateful. Because at the end of the day, that's all hateful. It's all negative. Like, you're just spewing all this negative energy on stuff that shouldn't even really be your business. I mean, you should worry if your partner is promiscuous. Like, that's your concern, not what strangers are doing on social media, taking their clothes off. But yeah, I'm so glad that we have these platforms now. You know what I mean? And it's so huge, and they're doing like this whole anti-bullying stuff and trying to get, you know, people to be more accepting of this sort of thing, because it has caused a lot of emotional issues and ruined women's reputations, or you know, even, you know, in the gay community, ruined reputation.
And I feel like, and it's crazy to me how literally it can take so much to ruin a guy. To like, literally, you can say a guy's a rapist, a guy had an inappropriate, you know, advances on a female, and he can still literally
keep his
job or get transferred to a different department. But then it's like, it could just be a whisper of something, and then a female's like whole life is kind of like destroyed.
Who was it that married their adopted daughter?
Woody
Allen. Why is he still so popular in pop culture? But he literally is a statutory rapist. Married his own stepdaughter, and nobody thinks a word of it.
But look at even Kathy Griffin. Like, how many times have comedians not overstepped the boundaries of like and when I say overstep boundaries, I feel like in comedy, every person's kind of like tolerance for comedy is different. Like, I can find something okay funny, and you can be like, I'm offended, or vice versa. So to me, it's kind of like everyone's comedy level is different. So to me, I kind of look at it like, what. She had a severe head. Like, how many times have we not seen this in skits? How many times have we not seen this in like in a regular movie? Like, it to me, it wasn't like the end all be all of comedy. But mind you, look at her. Like, look at how it's affected her career.
Yeah.
Like, Mama's like dead ass, like damn near blackballed.
She's done. Yeah, she's pretty much done for, and it's so hard to get a man blackballed in his career.
Like I don't.
Completely.
And another person, like how many times have actors literally like Christian Bale throughout the 3 Batman movies was literally making headlines for random ass fuckery, like whether it be
Yeah.
on set with his family because he had went through a whole domestic violence dispute.
Oh, that domestic violence stuff is something else. I mean, it's even with Tom Cruise. Didn't Katie Holmes accuse him of like emotional abuse or whatever the case may be? Like he's crazy, he's controlling. He says he was an abusive husband, but he is still immortalized. Like it's like this is Tom Cruise. You know what I'm saying? Like it's accepted, it's cool, and it's just like, is it really? Like I mean, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Like people can change, but it's to an extent where it's just like, you know, for a fact, if this was a woman committing these acts, you would not be as accepting of her. You know
But
what
look
I mean?
at Monique. Like Monique is another perfect example. Like
They dragged poor Monique.
But mind you, like how many times has this not happened though? Like it's really like when she like I forgot what the one before this that she ended up getting her blackballed by like was it like Lee Daniels and like Oprah?
I don't remember, but
Oh, was it because she was supposed to be Cookie on Empire? And then Taraji got the part instead. It was some
that was a whole mess.
Yeah. And then now the whole thing with Netflix, and then everyone was on her like, oh, it's a lie. And so Wanda Sykes was like, oh no, they did it to me too, but I just went to a different thing. And
Wanda
it's
Sykes
like,
didn't make a big deal out of it.
yeah, but it's something like, but that's my thing though. Why should it be expected? Like, why should we take things like kind of like lying down and be like, oh, okay, well, it happened to me. Well, you didn't want to give me the money. I'm going to stay quiet and just go somewhere else. Like, why can I not say something about it? Like, we should be able to say something.
She said something and got dragged so bad. And I genuinely feel bad for her, but the memes are funny. The memes are funny. But I feel for Monique. I feel like she is a genuinely funny person.
Oh my God, Netflix one.
They shitted on her whole life. It's just so sad.
They're so disrespectful, but...
The only person I can say, and not even I can say he's had some trouble, but it took Chris Brown a long time for him to get back to where he is, get back to his music, and actually get people to focus on his music.
But do you feel but with him, would you say that, not to kind of pull that card, because I know people always be like, oh, but do you feel that may be also because he's a black man, as opposed to being
most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because,
most definitely, yeah.
Because, I mean, we've had we've had problematic artists.
Yeah.
For like
plenty.
Plenty, and nothing like really major like happens.
Stuff like what he did was actually pretty common, especially in the 90s, and we still look at a lot of those artists, and they're still great artists to us. I mean, we still listen to Michael Jackson despite you know the whole pedophile stuff. I mean, there's a lot of artists like that, I think, but I feel like for some reason he had a really hard time coming out of it compared to a lot of other people, and definitely I think being a black man has a lot to do with it. And
would you say also that, like, kind of, I guess, like, I was gonna say also maybe the times were different because again, like during the Michael Jackson era, during like the R. Kelly era, social media wasn't really as prevalent as it is now, and it's kind of like, and at the same time, we only really got our news kind of like through like news outlets on TV.
MTV News and stuff like that.
Like that's what like it was kind of like a
different
different time.
Has a lot to do with it, but why did it take for so long for people to cancel R. Kelly when he pissed on teenage girls? R. Kelly did this back in what? And he just got canceled in 2017. They decided R. Kelly's canceled. But even like Lady Gaga went on and did a song with him at some point. Like people were still making music, actively making music with R. Kelly, and it was like set in stone that this man pissed on little girls. Yeah. I definitely feel like
the same. And we're back from our little hiatus.
Yes, what I was saying was I definitely think it's a sign of the times, like how easily accessible certain things are to people now. Like we saw firsthand what Chris Brown did to Rihanna. So it's like, oh my God, that's taboo. That spread around the internet within seconds. Whereas I guess what R. Kelly did, there are probably some people out there who don't even know what the hell he did. You know what I mean?
And it's also, like I said again, like just to kind of reiterate your point, it is a sign of the times because I mean, again, even back in the day, like for example, because one of the biggest things, like, kind of like in hip hop was like that whole abusive kind of like towards women. Like you had that with Dr. Dre with Michelle,
Yeah.
and that whole scandal that happened when they did the Lifetime biopic. But like, you know, she went through all of that, and no one, like, you know, there were rumors circulating that she was going through that, but you never really saw, like,
it wasn't concrete.
It wasn't anything concrete, but now it's different. Now you have the paparazzi literally in your face. These cameras are around you all the time. So it's harder to hide.
The same thing with Biggie and Lil' Kim. Yeah. I mean, that was like, it was almost like it was accepted in that culture. Like, you know what I mean? For men to be the aggressor and, you know, like the pimp hoe kind of relationship was like cool or something. You can't get away with that now. And yeah, I think that definitely signifies how we've changed and how we've become more reactive to that kind of stuff. What about going to Mars?
Not fucking Mars.
But is the Mars one thing? Maybe there won't be any double standard on Mars. Who knows?
I mean, I will say this though. I mean, progressive steps. The first AI is a female.
Yes.
It's, you know, I mean, technically I would think that it would have probably been a male, but I mean, I think they did it. I feel like in my heart of hearts, they picked a female AI in case she goes haywire. It could be like, because she's a woman.
Exactly. All those hormones and emotions. That's why she did it. Yeah, I'm waiting for that day when she malfunctions and tries to fucking kill everybody. And then we're going to see.
But
what's her name again?
Sophia.
Sophia.
But isn't it funny how, and I will say, and again, this is another part to bring it back on topic of the double standard, is kind of how women have been chosen as kind of like the scapegoat of society. A lot, especially like when it comes to like the failure of man. Because like, for example, like with this presidency, yeah, Trump did win the presidency, obviously, because he is president of the United States. But obviously that doesn't overshadow the fact that there are a lot of failures within his administration, and every time there seems to be an issue with his administration, it's always kind of, it always comes back to Hillary Clinton, and I'm like, she's not the president right now, so how is it her fault again?
But that's like the biggest thing, and when every time you look at the conversation, it always falls back to her somehow, like and a person who was never even the president, which is the strangest thing ever. But yeah. Women are definitely the scapegoat, you know, and I feel like, again, that's historical. You know what I mean? Anything goes wrong, you got to blame the woman. It was Eve that ate that apple, so women are known as like the seductresses, or, you know, they can convince man to do things he doesn't want to do, and it's like every time a man makes a mistake, it's always a woman saving his ass. Like, look at when Trump got accused of grabbing a bitch in the pussy. His wife automatically came up to save face for him. Oh, my husband, he's a good man.
It's just locker room talk.
Locker room. What the fuck is locker room talk, first of all? Like, yeah, no. It's just, that definitely happens a lot more than it should. Yeah. Women always get blamed for shit that has nothing to do with them half the time. Like, at all. At all. If he cheats, she must have been doing something wrong.
That's what I was about to say too. I feel like that, and it all comes into play because I feel like a lot of times, you know, it all comes into like also with victim blaming. Like when, you know, if a guy rapes a female, why was she dressed revealingly? It's this, it was that, it was because she was sending signals. And it's kind of like, why is that always the case? Like, why can't men just take responsibility for their actions? Why can't, you know, heterosexual men and tops take responsibilities for their actions?
Right. That is so funny you bring that up, because when I went to Miami for New Year's Eve and I happened to get this dress from Fashion Nova, it was see-through, just so y'all know, because I know y'all gonna start once I tell y'all what happened. So we're walking to the club and a guy walks in between like me and my homegirls and he grabs my ass. My first initial reaction is like, I threw my phone at my friend, hold my phone, and I'm like running after him and I start punching him and stuff. But then it was like, the first thing when I told someone what happened was like, oh, it was that ass in that dress because it was see-through. And I'm just like, but that still does not mean that I'm okay with people touching me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm okay with you looking, by all means. If my ass is out, you have eyes. I'm not going to expect you to go blind because I'm in a see-through dress. But to actually take it to the next level and think that you can put your hands on somebody, I think it's insane.
Which is funny that you said that.
Mind you, people were looking at me in the street like I was the crazy one. I did look crazy. I was
I mean,
I did black out on
you
him.
were punching a dude in a see-through dress. I mean, I would probably look at you like, kind of like, oh, girl, is this what you really want to be doing?
It definitely was. In that moment, I was just like, I saw red, and it was just.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, I think at the end of the day, he had no reason to touch you.
But, you know, I'm pretty sure had I approached a cop about it or something, they would have tried to downplay the situation. And it happens a lot with, you know, if a woman is dressed sexy and something happens to her in a club, oh, you know, your skirt is so short, or, you know.
And that shouldn't even be brought up in conversation. It should just be,
like,
I didn't want him touching me. He didn't, like, it wasn't consensual, and that's
it's never okay to touch somebody. Even getting into, like, a physical altercation, let's say getting into a fight or anything, I feel like as adults we should know to keep our hands to ourselves. Like, that's it. If you don't like what somebody is saying, you have the power to walk away. And if you see something you like, it doesn't mean it's yours. It doesn't mean you have to touch it. You know, when it comes to, like, seeing a woman that you like. And men have that thing in the club. Hey, mommy. Hey, mommy.
Don't touch me.
And
Touch me not.
You always got to tell somebody not to touch you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But would it be acceptable for a woman to walk around a club, grabbing on everybody's balls and all that shit?
Wasn't there a video of a girl who would walk around grabbing guys by their dick and they were like, hey, remember?
But it's like, stuff like this happens to women all the time walking down the street randomly. And I feel like almost every woman out here can say that she's been, like, sexually harassed in some way. And that's pretty sad to, you know, that statistic is really sad. That you can find almost every woman, especially, let's say, in the Bronx. Yeah. Especially, like, if you live in certain neighborhoods, I live around Fordham, you cannot walk down Fordham Road without some form of sexual harassment.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we become immune to it, and it's not okay, you know, but we've become accustomed to it.
We should never get desensitized to that.
Yeah, and
we are becoming desensitized to it, though.
We become desensitized to it because women are expected to stay shut. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, you're expected. If you're a pretty woman, it's expected. Men are gonna want you. You just have to get used to it. You know what I mean? But it's not okay, and that's another thing with the double standard. Because I'm pretty sure if this was happening to men as often as it was happening to women, it would be a major freaking issue. Like, there'd probably be a law against catcalling if this was something that men went through on a regular basis. Like, I'm pretty sure this would be like a law. You catcall, you get fined or something. Right. $350.
You touch me inappropriately, you're in jail for 3 months.
Yeah, like, it's just so insane how much women have to endure. And on that note, I have to say, women are freaking awesome. And they're strong. Yes. And I feel like as far as we've come as a society to accept certain things, the double standard is one thing we shouldn't accept, and we should definitely say something. You know what I mean?
What do you feel?
Be strong.
And I mean, if you had to choose, how would you? I mean, like, if you had to come up with a plan, how would you approach kind of like to eradicate and educate people and kind of see what you would be able to do to get rid of the double standard? Like, how would you fight it?